All right, y'all, let's slow the conversation down for a second because we keep debating about Jalen Hurts. We keep debating about his contract. We keep debating if he needs a prove it year. But I don't see enough people talking about the coaching side of this. And to me, man, that matters just as much. So let's start here. The offensive coordinator got fired. That's not speculation. That's not opinion. That's an organizational decision that means something didn't work. When a coordinator loses his job, that's the franchise saying the structure fell, not just execution, structure. So when I hear people say, well, let Jalen prove it, I understand the logic. He has, one more guaranteed year left on his contract? That gives the Philadelphia Eagles leverage. That gives the front office flexibility. I get it. But if we're being honest, you can't say the system fell and then act like the quarterback was operating in perfect conditions. That don't make no sense to me. Now, here's the part I don't see getting talked about. We focus on who left, but what about who stayed? Nick Sirianni is still the head coach here. That means it was not a regime reset. This was targeted. The running back coach was retained. The wide receiver coach was retained. Vic Fangio remains in place on this defense. That tells you something. The organization didn't believe the entire staff was broken. They believed something specific was broken, and that's important. Because if it was a full collapse, you would have seen a lot of changes, but you didn't. You saw some surgical change. So let me ask you something. How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable with, the coaches that we retain? Do you view continuity as stability? Or do you think not enough has changed? Because if we're being honest, most of the noise right now is basically centered around Jalen Hurts. And, I'm not saying that's wrong. But in my opinion, man, it feels incomplete. If last year's offense collapsed late, if adjustments stalled, if sequencing got predictable, if motion disappeared, that's layered stuff. That's not just one person. Now, let's talk about the prove it narrative. Here's what's being said. New system, new offensive direction. Let him prove he's top 10 again. And listen, to me, man, that's not a crazy take. There is some logic there if we being honest. He has one more year guarantee left. If he thrives in this new system, you pay him. If he doesn't, you reassess. From a business standpoint, that's reasonable. And me being a businessman, I understand.
Big business, hotter in the building. If it ain't my money, then the nigga just don't feel it. Eat it really, hotter, heat it really.
Is this a clean evaluation year or is this a rebuild year? Because those are not the same thing. If the structure stabilizes, if the sequencing improves, if the middle of the field becomes active again, if the protection is consistent, then yes, man, this is a fair evaluation. But if we still watching a schematic inconsistency, then you're evaluating the quarterback through noise. Another argument floating around is the dual threat conversation. The rushing numbers drop. We know that from around 50 yards per game to about mid-20s. And the narrative becomes he's not the same runner anymore. Okay. Is that physical decline or a philosophy change? Was it design run reduction? Was it protection adjustments? Was it health management? Quarterbacks just don't forget how to run. So again, man, context matters. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out even further. Let's look at the draft trends. Look at where the money may be going soon. Look at the youth on this defense. There's a real possibility that Eagles are quietly shifting back towards a defense-leaning identity. If that's true, that affects contract timing, not belief. Timing. Because front offices don't operate emotionally. They operate strategically, especially Howie Roseman. And that's why I'm not here to tell you how to feel, right? I'm here to ask you how you feel. Are you comfortable with the coaching continuity? Do you think last year primarily was a scheme failure, or was it quarterback regression? Would you extend Jalen Hurts right now? Pause. Or would you wait one more year? Do you believe the retained staff is enough to stabilize the offense? Because I genuinely don't see enough conversation around the coaches that we kept. We're loud about the contract, Jalen. We're loud about the quarterback. But, you know, we real quiet about the continuity. And, you know, that's interesting to me. Here's where I land with this big picture. The Eagles, you know, they didn't panic. They recalibrated. They removed a lot of the orchestration. They maintained defensive stability. That suggests confidence, in my opinion, man. But all we can really do right now is just watch. This next season will tell us whether architecture, you know, was an issue or whether it's a deeper evaluation needed. But let's make sure, you know, we're evaluating the whole structure, man, not just Jalen Hurts, not just one name, man. So, look, man, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to discuss, but I'm going to leave it right there for this week. But as usual, man, if you made it this far in the video, if you felt like this puppy helped you out, please, man, do me a favor, do the channel a favor, like, comment, and subscribe, do all those things to keep the channel in rotation. But until next time, man, out.